Shout out, shout out, the Connects, Luis Guzman. Don't ever go, never leave my side. Passion's all I have, courage is my drive. And if I lost you, I would lose it all together. I wouldn't have
Welcome to I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast, where we highlight the journey of entrepreneurs and business people alike to showcase that every light and dark moment create a beautiful piece of art. This is episode 32. I am your host, Luis Guzman. My guest today is known for his true passion of culinary arts and his honest takes on some of New Jersey's hidden gems for foodies. A connoisseur when it comes to outside-the-box cool recipes, such as the Fat Josh sandwich, as well as my personal weakness, sweets, where he has recipes for salted chocolate chunk shortbread cookies, amongst other delicious options. A Renaissance man with a diverse background in teaching, voiceover work, and even a distinguished sommelier. Josh is a testament that you have to keep going until you find what is truly meant for you. His intimate reviews from the driver's side of his car pulls you in, not just into the food he's reviewing, but the genuine soul he has for the everyday food business owner, as well as delivering a transparent review to keep you coming back to see where he's going to next. A foodie is an understatement. He is a chef's kiss to the social media food content. Joshua Berman, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man.
It.
So, man, listen, thank you for coming on the platform, man. I love what you've been doing.
Thank you so much.
On social media with the food content.
Thanks.
And I just wanted to have you on here to kind of tell your story and, let people know more about the whole 360 of who Joshua Berman is,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So I always ask this to every guest that comes on, and I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah.
Who is Joshua Berman?
Who am I?
It's a deep question, right?
Yeah, that's a very deep question.
It's how everyone
very
starts.
philosophical. I think I'm just an appreciator. That's what I am in life. I just love appreciating things. I think it's just important to not rush through everything in life. And I think that's kind of led me to where I am, is I just like appreciating everything that life has to offer.
I love that because I think we get and we were talking about this off camera, surprisingly enough. Sometimes we get so caught up in the everyday life and the angst and the like, get it. You take a step back and you have to realize what's appreciative and what you've built.
Yes.
And you telling me that tells me a lot about you as a person and a character, that it's cool to be successful, but it's more cool to be grateful. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely.
And where did you embody that that sense of gratefulness? Was it from your family or,
I think it's from my family, and I definitely from my family, but also I think just experiencing life. Like I think I was kind of like a lost soul for a good part of my life.
Okay.
Always having some sort of either no goal or just a specific goal without actually just stopping and appreciating things and understanding who I am. So I think it was really just a road of just different things through life that brought me to realization. That's how you have to, or at least how I have to walk through life, is just to kind of appreciate things.
Now, as far as that, can you expound on that? What you mean by, trying to figure things out, like what wasn't working in your life? Like, can you give me an example?
I tried just so many things. Like I actually, my earlier passion was music.
Okay, me too.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Oh,
wow.
cool.
I was a rapper for like 10 years.
Oh, nice. I started playing guitar at 16, so and that was my life: guitar and hockey. I loved playing hockey.
Nice.
I'm still a humongous hockey fan.
I'm a Devils fan.
Oh, I'm a Penguins fan.
It's all good. It's still hockey.
It's still hockey.
Good stuff.
I just was always, I think, trying to find myself and wasn't sure who I was. Like, I loved music. But then I'm thinking to myself, okay, I like music, so then means I have to do something with this. So it means I have to go to college for this. I have to do something with this. This has to be my job. I always had that kind of had to be mentality. It has to do something with it. And I think it started with music. I got to college, and at first I wasn't really into college.
Okay.
And then I eventually was. And then it was kind of figuring out, okay, I like music, but that doesn't necessarily have to be my career. It could just be something I like doing, and that's a passion of mine. And then I kind of, left college really not knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up,
What did you graduate in?
Just a business communications degree.
Okay. And what school?
University of Memphis.
Memphis, nice.
So
okay.
to backtrack a little bit, I originally went to college for music business.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I went to actually 3 colleges. I went to University of New Haven so I could get my grades up to go to Northeastern.
Oh,
So I went
Northeastern.
to, yeah,
Very
so I went to
cool.
Northeastern for a few years in Boston, but it's incredibly expensive.
It is.
It's still in debt from it. And so I transferred because at the time the music business major was not a really popular major yet. It was just kind of becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Memphis was one of the few schools that had it, and it was way more affordable. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of just live somewhere. I grew up in Staten Island in New Jersey.
Okay.
Try living somewhere else, and living in the South was definitely an experience.
Definitely a culture shock, right?
Yeah. But then I graduated college, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was kind of just floating around doing different things, and just kind of always felt like if I don't do this by this time, I'm not going to be successful. If I don't do this by then, like I just kept putting such limitations or expectations on my life that I could never find what I wanted to do.
Got it. And I'm resonating with you a lot because I was the same way. I always told myself it has to work out or I'm just never going to be successful at all.
Yeah.
And I did that with my music career. And then when that didn't work out, doors opened, and eventually I figured it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know where that mentality comes from. Is that from the way you were raised, from your parents? Like, did you ever do some soul searching on that? Why do you think that way, or why you put that much pressure on you? Because I put pressure on myself.
I put pressure on myself. I always did. I don't know how much of it is from my upbringing or just the world I grew up in, that this is what you do. You go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, and blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
I think that's just the general world I grew up in. So the expectations, and I see my friends going to college and then having these careers after college. I didn't necessarily want their careers, but they had careers and they were success. They were already hitting the ground running in their mid-20s and doing everything. And I'm still kind of lost, like struggling
figuring it out,
and not making the kind of money they were making, like doing all these things, like just not sure where I was, like always thinking that I'm going to eventually figure it out and I'm going to, strike it and it's going to be huge. But that's not what gets you to A to B, is that
true.
mentality.
Yeah. And I think also the mentality of that pressure, it makes you not enjoy the actual journey of what you're going through.
Yeah.
And I think, I think we're kind of sharing a brain here. Like when you put that amount of pressure on you, you start future tripping. And what I mean by that is, well, I got to do this because in 2 years I have to be here.
Yep.
And, whoa, let's
100%.
think about Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he believes a lot in the power of now.
Absolutely.
So I, am a big believer in that. And
too.
sometimes I got to reel myself in because I can go out there and kind of say, wait a minute, let's dial it back.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. It's 11, whatever. I'm having lunch. I'm going to get to the next step when I get there.
Right.
Let's enjoy the now.
Yes.
So is that something you had to kind of learn, is to enjoy the now?
100,000%. I kind of had to get broken really for that to happen. Like I kind of had to hit lower points in my life to where I had that mentality. Honestly, a part of it came through therapy too. Like,
That's good for you.
Yeah. Because
Nice.
I reached a point in my life and it's like, all right, something's not right. Things in my personal life, everything. It's like, and it was really going to therapy that taught me about being in the moment and learning to meditate. Like I still meditate to this day.
Nice.
Like that really changed my life. Like that was kind of maybe the first step. And that was really in my mid 30s, late 30s.
35, 36.
36, 37,
That's
think.
almost about,
Yeah.
I started going to therapy
Yeah.
when I was 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in the same boat there.
Yeah.
What, if you don't mind, and you don't have to share if you don't want to,
Yeah.
what was low? What was considered low for you?
I'm trying to remember. I was at the time I was leaving the hospitality world
Okay.
and becoming, of all things, an accountant.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to do that, did you?
But I had a very big misconception of what an accounting job was like. And I thought this was a job I could have that's 9 to 5, and I leave, I come back, and then I could have at least afford the life where I could pursue all my other passions
Got it.
and stuff like that.
Got it.
And it was also the time my relationship life, just dating women, was awful, was terrible. I had just gotten out of a really horrible relationship. And that was kind of the pivotal moment, like, all right, I got to get into therapy because I'm not happy. And I keep repeating the same patterns over and over and over again.
It's unconscious. Yeah.
And it's like, I got to figure out, because I've always been a very introspective person, very self-aware, very just knowing that what I'm doing, like aware of what I'm doing, but not necessarily understanding why I'm doing it.
Gotcha.
And I had to kind of figure out why. And that opened up the floodgates. Like in therapy, figuring like, okay, now that I understand why I'm making certain choices, this is how things, I have to kind of figure it out now. But it also got me, he got me into meditating and understanding stuff. And that really, I do mindful meditation, which is all about being in that very moment. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
So that was like the first step.
Are you still in therapy to this day?
Not right now, but I do want to get back in. I think therapy should be something, even when things are going good, you should be in.
I agree. I've been doing it for almost 5 years, and every Tuesday, nonstop, because and I still thank my therapist to this day, because I was a shell of who I was when I walked in there, and it's like you're reading my life, dude, because everything you're saying is kind of what happened to me. I got out of a really bad relationship when I got into therapy, and I didn't know where I was going.
Right.
And you start, I guess the way to like kind of, put it all in perspective is therapy is essentially your life is a big ball of like all connected rubber bands.
Yeah.
And every feeling is connected to another feeling. And it's you pulling it apart and looking at it and saying, okay, this is why I react a certain way in this situation because of what happened when I was 7 or what happened when I was 12. This is why it's connected to, it becomes like a whole connective tissue type of thing.
Yeah.
Understanding that and looking at it and the big A word, which I always talk about, is accountability.
Yeah.
You got to kind of look at yourself.
Yep.
And that's why people that are going through something crazy don't want to go to therapy, because you got to look at yourself.
You have to, because you're the one in control.
The disgusting versions of who you were.
Yeah.
And say it's okay.
Yeah.
Because now I know. And now what you won't be able to, unknow, and you can move on changing those patterns.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked for me. I see it's worked for you.
Yeah.
So
because you have to be accountable for yourself, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're the only, despite whatever's happening to you, it's up to you how you're going to move forward through it.
100%. 100%. That's beautiful, man. I didn't even know that about you. That's pretty cool that you went through that. And I really hope you go back there. You say you want to try.
No, I want to, yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, I'm going to ask you this as well, because I know when we met at a party a couple of weeks ago, and I asked you, dude, how do you stay so slim and you eat this deliciousness? And we're going to get into the whole Josh and food stuff.
Yeah.
But you were overweight at one time.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
Please explain. Tell me about that.
I was a fat kid. I just was
Me too.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I grew up. What's really weird is I grew up actually very skinny until I was like 8 or 9, I think, and then just ballooned up. And I was a fat kid for at least till my early 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your highest weight?
My highest weight, it's going to sound not bad, but it's also the shape I was in. My highest weight was about,
190?
it was about 195.
Come on.
But I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'9", so
Okay.
190 on my frame. It's also the type of shape I was in too. I was just slovenly and just, not put together. Not that I'm in like a great shape now, but I was not in any form. I was a blob.
Gotcha,
I was just kind of like a just gelatinous type of shape. But yeah, I was like that, and then I had kind of like a food epiphany at one point. I literally had a moment. This is when I was in college, and I almost had this really sad routine. Like every time driving back from school to my apartment, I'm going to McDonald's. I'd get some kind of.
You're like a Big Mac guy.
It was either Big Mac or number 2. Those are my two things.
The 2 cheeseburgers.
But I would always add on 6-piece nuggets. 6-piece nuggets. 4. Come on.
Amateur.
Amateur hours. 6-piece.
So are we doing barbecue?
Barbecue and sweet and sour. I would go
barbecue.
back. I love their sweet and sour. And I love their barbecue. I think McDonald's quietly has like one of the best barbecue sauces in the game.
No, it's one of the best.
It's
Literally,
really good.
It's legendary.
It's probably got the worst crap in it, but it's so good.
So good in the moment.
But my meal at that moment, and it was really sad about it too, is like I set up like picnic style in front of my TV on the floor.
Me too.
This Big Mac meal with the nuggets, a giant orange soda, and I don't know if this is something you'll want to cut out, but I ate this meal. I just felt sick.
Yeah.
And I looked at myself. I went to the bathroom and just threw up horribly.
All the time or just that one time?
At that moment.
Okay.
And I literally had this moment like, what's the language barrier?
You can do whatever you want, brother. This is your platform.
I literally was like, what the fuck am I doing to myself? Like literally had that moment. What the fuck am I doing to myself? Wow. And from that moment forward, I completely changed the way I ate, because I had like yo-yoed. I went on all the fad diets. I took diet pills, did all those kind of things to lose weight. Right. Nothing ever stuck. And I'm like, I have to approach this a different way. And I just slowly, gradually changed the way I ate.
Gotcha.
And that is actually what helped me stick to eating normally, because like I made a gradual lifestyle change that slowly became my habit.
Got it.
And I lost the weight, and pretty much this was around 23 years old, I think.
Okay. All right. So, I got you.
Yeah, and
you started early.
Yeah. And I
got it.
yo-yoed at times here and there, but I never let myself get out of control at that point, because it became this was the way I ate. This is how I was. And doing what I do now, that mentality still kind of sticks, because I don't eat like that every day.
Got it.
You know, the videos have in essence become like my cheat meals.
Yeah. I see what
Like
you mean.
really,
Yeah, there's your
because
cheat
off
meals,
camera, I'm not saying I don't indulge off camera ever,
Right.
but like for the most part, I eat pretty clean. I've been out of the gym for about a month or two now, but I generally, just for various reasons, but I generally, work out, at least 3 days a week. I don't
Awesome.
overdo it.
You don't overdo it.
But
yeah.
I make sure I'm like the idea was not to lose weight. The idea was I need to be healthy. And
Correct.
that's kind of where I stand. And also now when I do these videos, I was a bit more indulgent in the beginning. I don't necessarily finish everything that I'm eating on video. I approach it where I eat enough to kind of talk about the food and really get a sense of it. I don't necessarily just devour everything that you see on camera.
Got it. Now, sometimes you might
I do.
pull the pin off,
Oh,
right?
I do.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I can't help, like, this is so good, I have to eat this whole thing. Totally happens still.
I think of that because, like you said, we're sharing a brain here. Like
Yeah.
I can sit there, and if I really like it and I'm starving,
Yeah.
that whole thing's getting demolished.
Gone.
But I do the gluttony test. I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
So if you were starving to death, full cheese pie in front of you, how many slices?
Oh, man.
Starving to death. Full
Talking a large pie?
Large pie. I personally can do 4 max. 4 slices.
I'm not saying because you said it. I'm thinking that's probably me too. I think it's
Gotcha.
about all I can fit.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, that's about, yeah. I couldn't do half. I definitely couldn't do half.
I couldn't, man.
But I would say 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're in the same boat.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I asked you that because, and I want to ask you this as well as a follow-up question. I deal sometimes with fat boy PTSD. And what I mean by
totally.
that is, bro, I will like have a cheat meal on Sunday with my wife or something, or Saturday night go eat.
Yeah.
And I have to force myself to stop eating because I'm like, no, you're eating too much. You got to chill.
Yes.
And, we went to Peking Pavilion on Saturday and delicious General Toast chicken, fried rice. I'm eating and I'm like, no, I'm not going to eat all this rice. I'm not going to eat all this General Toast. It's like a mind thing now. For you, doing these food reviews, how does that feel for you mentally when you're eating this food? Like, do you have to pull yourself back? Do you feel
Sometimes,
guilty? Yeah.
I don't ever feel guilty because, like I said, I'm not generally eating all this food. I'm eating enough to taste it and talk about it. So I don't really have I think I actually have those moments more off camera.
Okay.
Because there are times for whatever reason, like I really want ice cream right now. And I could take down a pint like someone takes a shot of liquor. Like, so then I have this moment like, I'm like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I'll have moments like that more off camera than on camera, actually.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I thought I was the only one. Like I have those moments. And listen, I work out 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I try to eat clean 70% of the week.
Yeah.
But that 30 is
Yeah.
it's a rough 30.
Yeah, it can
You
be
know
a
what I
rough
mean?
30
It
because
could be
also
a rough
depends
30.
what you're indulging in too.
Exactly.
Certain things will make me feel guiltier than others.
Gotcha. Like, give me an example. Like
Ice cream. Ice cream will make me feel guiltier than others because, like, I will look at myself like, how did I like? You think when you're a kid, a pint of ice cream looks like this giant thing, and now I hold a pint and I feel like I'm holding a little cup of water.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like I could just sit there. I'm like, I'm just gonna have 2 or 3 spoons. I'm gonna put it back in the freezer, and that never happens. I fool myself. I will put it back in the freezer,
and then you'll go back
5 minutes later.
I know.
And it's gone.
I know this is gonna sound funny, right? But I've tried and it's been working. Have you ever heard of Yasso? It's like a yogurt-based ice cream. I have one maybe like 3 times a week when I want that craving. 140 calories, like very minimal carb.
Yeah.
It does the trick, and you don't feel guilty. There's not a lot of sugar in it. So I guess for me, it's minimizing the damage.
Yeah.
And it's tough because sometimes when you want to eat, you want to eat.
And I want to see, for me, I never tried Yasso, but I've tried, I can't remember the brand. It was like one of the first brands that like kicked off that whole thing where it's like the whole thing is like the light ice cream.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
It's going to drive me insane right now.
Oh, God.
Halo Top. Halo
Child
Top.
Julian always coming through in the clutch.
Yes. Halo Top.
Halo Top. Yes.
I am such a purist that it's like,
No.
it doesn't scratch the itch for me. I fooled myself to thinking it scratches the itch, but like it doesn't have the same consistency. It doesn't necessarily have the same exact flavor. I need the real thing to feel like a scratch. So it's like I really am, unfortunately, kind of like an all or nothing kind of person with food.
I feel you, man.
I wish I could do that. I wish that could scratch the itch for me. The only food that weirdly scratches the itch and I cannot overindulge is dark chocolate.
Really? You know why? Yeah, I'm the same way. I
Because
can't
I
eat
love
a lot
chocolate,
of it.
but I can't eat a lot of dark chocolate.
It's because it's kind of healthy for you. So
Yeah, it is. Like I can't eat a ton of it, but I also don't feel guilty if I have a whole dark chocolate bar because a lot of them are much lower in sugar. They have a little fiber. They have nutrients. So like I don't quite have that feeling where like, oh, what did I just do to myself?
Gotcha, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, dude, it's crazy you're saying that because I thought I was the only one on this world that thought like that. So thank you for sharing that. And for anybody out there listening that's struggling with weight and food, it's a journey, man.
It is. And it's
a journey.
It's a daily battle. It's still a daily battle because I have to be careful what I bring into my home.
Gotcha.
That's part of it too.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm thankful for my wife because she meal preps for me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about grilled chicken, tuna, green peas, I got my Quest, protein chips.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that because if it was left to my own devices,
I
think I would cheat a little bit more than I needed to.
Well, it's funny you say your wife. My girlfriend, what she kind of changed with me is like when I would go out to dinner to like a regular restaurant, I'm like, all right, we're gonna get 2 appetizers. We're each gonna get an entree, and she's like, no, and she doesn't say it forcefully at all. She's like, let's just get an appetizer. Let's split the entree, and we'll split some sides. And the thing is, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I actually prefer eating that way now when I go out to eat. I think having that little bit of sampling is more satisfying. I realize, I'm actually full. Like we went out the other night, we had a steak dinner, we shared the steak.
Nice.
And I was completely
You're full.
I felt good.
You felt full?
Yeah.
And I think it's like, for me, and I feel you on this, is you start to kind of like gravitate towards the habits of your significant other.
Yeah.
My wife eats like a bird. Like she can literally have like 3 potato chips and she's full.
Yeah.
And I was never like that. And now, to your point, we go out, we're sharing appetizers, we're sharing meals. And I get kind of mad because it's like I'm cheating myself. Like, babe, I'm full.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy, but I'm not. Because I'm so used to being this gluttonous, like...
And trying a million things. Getting so many appetizers and all these sides and all these entrees. So yeah, I know I actually get that mentality a lot, but I feel full. But that satisfaction is a little lacking.
Yeah, because it kind of makes you feel like you're missing out, but you're not.
No.
It's just you're evolving. Your body has learned to not eat as much.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It really is a good thing. But again, when you're coming from where we come from, as far as like the McDonald's and the food and the over, indulgence, you kind of feel like you're cheating yourself, but you're really not. You're actually doing great.
Yeah, you are. And there is a mental aspect to that, like you talked about. There's that mental satisfaction that you have to kind of push past.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then once you get there and you're like, I don't really need it, and then it becomes a lifestyle habit, and it becomes every week to like every month to like, this is just my daily life now.
Really quick thing, food thing that I love. I don't eat them a lot, but those Quest chips, crush them up in the chicken salad.
I've done that before, dude. I'm not even joking. No. My favorite is the cheese one, cheese flavored.
The Dorito, it's like the Dorito. Yeah.
I'll crush it. My wife will make this like, she'll mince like chicken and put green peas in it, and then I dump that on top.
Yeah.
It's like Chipotle for me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Well, I do like a mayonnaise chicken salad. Like I've done that.
That's what we do. Mayonnaise, mayonnaise too. Same thing.
So good.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
And it kind of like you scratch that itch.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
You do. You totally do. That's a good one. Yeah.
I feel you because it's funny you say that because you said you don't like substitutes, right?
Yeah.
But
that's one of the few I like. Yeah.
Those are one of the few.
Yeah.
I don't have to eat Doritos ever again.
No.
I can eat Quest chips to the day I die.
I'm also, admittedly, I'm not a big chip guy. So I like chips. I rarely seek them out. I'll have them occasionally, but if I have an urge, I never overindulge with them. But if I see the Quest ones, I'll grab them.
Yeah, the Quests are good, bro.
They're good.
Yeah. And I literally tried every flavor. They got a sour cream one. I don't know if you ever tried that.
I think I've only had the Dorito one.
They have Doritos, sour cream, ranch.
Yeah.
They got barbecue now.
I think I did try the barbecue.
The barbecue's not bad, but after like 3 or 4 times, you get kind of tired of it. That's my opinion. Yeah. But the Dorito one is like A1. Always go to, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
That's
stuff,
funny.
Josh. It's funny, bro. I'm telling you, we got a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
man.
we do for sure. Yeah.
So tell me, man. So you went to therapy,
Yes.
and you were an accountant. You didn't like what you were doing.
Yeah.
Tell me about that transition going into. Well, there's a lot more before the food reviews.
Yes.
But you were a sommelier.
Yes.
You do voiceover work.
Yeah,
you were a
I'm
teacher.
yeah.
Give me the whole 360. on
Okay,
all
so the voiceover work is something I've been trying to break into. I've done a little bit of work, but haven't fully gotten in there yet. I'm still trying to push that one. So the kind of quick version is, so when I was living I had moved to Las Vegas in 2008.
Okay.
My dad's side of the family's out there. So
Gotcha.
I decided to try something different. I was working in advertising.
Okay.
Selling advertising for Clear Channel Radio.
Yeah, Clear
This
Channel.
is right when the economy tanked. The company laid off like 10% of the
housing
company.
market, yeah.
But the company itself did a mass layoff, the day Obama was inaugurated to hide the press.
Wow.
They laid off like 10% of the whole corporation nationwide. And I was a newbie, so I was one of the ones that got cut. So I'd only been there 6 months maybe.
Really?
So I'm collecting unemployment, don't know what I'm going to do. I get this thing in the mail. It's like a booklet from UNLV, which is the college in Nevada, in Vegas. And it was kind of like this booklet of like all these different little workshops you can do, different programs, learn new skills, different types of stuff. And I saw in there a program to become a sommelier. And I'm like, you can go to school for this?
I didn't even
Because
know
like,
that.
yeah, because like, so for my whole life, I've always loved food. I've always been a foodie. I liked wine. I didn't know a lot about wine, but I know I enjoyed it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, and I had that moment always trying to search what should I be doing with my life? I'm like, this is something I could see myself doing. Like, I actually enjoyed this world. I'm going to do this. But I didn't, it wasn't the most expensive program, but it wasn't cheap.
Got
but
it.
I still needed a job. In that same booklet, it just had a thing. You can become a substitute teacher.
That's crazy.
You didn't have to take a test at the time. You didn't have to take a test. You just needed a bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I can become a substitute teacher, do that while I'm going to school to be a som.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how that happened. And the program, unfortunately, they broke it up in a way where you couldn't kind of take it consecutively. I had to do it over a 2-year period.
Gotcha.
So I was a sub for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, which was a wild experience.
No more high school, right?
Oh my God. I did high school the first year. I got threatened once.
Come on.
I'm not even kidding.
Dude, that's before like cell phones were a thing. Imagine
No,
now.
cell phones were a
Oh,
thing.
they were 2008?
That happened. I moved to Vegas in 2000. Yeah, so this was
2012?
so like they moved in 2008. Now I'm getting my years a little mixed
okay.
up. Maybe it was 2009. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the gap in between me being laid off and I think it may have been about a year or so.
Okay.
Of being on unemployment. I think I was unemployed for like a year.
Got it.
Jeez.
Got
now
it.
I think
Wow.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, cell phones were now a thing at this point. But social media wasn't necessarily that big yet.
Breakthrough yet. Yeah. I gotcha.
But yeah, the kid I think threatened me because I told him to put his cell phone away.
Stop.
Yeah.
And he threatened you like, I'm going to kill you.
He said something like, you best watch yourself. Like he said something like that. That's literally what he said, because you best watch yourself.
Best watch yourself, fam.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like I went down to the principal's office after and I had to tell them, I'm like, I'm not coming back here.
Yeah, it's a legit threat. Was this in Vegas?
Yeah. I was actually in like one of the worst high schools in Vegas.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because I went to some of the thing about the payment for the money you made as a sub, you made more money going into kind of the underprivileged areas. You made more money. It had a higher, it was like literally like I think like a $30 or $40 rate, daily rate higher.
Just for going to the hood.
Yeah. Just for going to the hood. No, like I grew up in Staten Island. I grew up in New York. Like to me, it wasn't it wasn't a big deal to me, but like that moment, I'm like, okay,
time to go.
I'm done with high school.
Yeah. I mean, you're not getting paid that much to be dealing with threats.
No.
You know
And then
I mean?
the next year, it was just elementary and a little bit of middle school. Because even middle school, that was like kind of like middle school kids getting that weird age that they're about to get into high school, so they think they're all
voices are
tough and like
changing.
they think they're all badasses and stuff. So I'm like sticking to mainly the elementary school for the second year.
Hey, Mr. Berman.
Yeah. So I stuck to that. But yeah, so I did that, and then I left being a sub. I just now needed to get restaurant experience. I was a bartender before that when I was in college.
Okay.
But my restaurant experience was dated. So like I needed to break back into restaurants.
Recalibrate.
And get that resume, because in Vegas, like you have to have experience.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're not going to hire you.
That's the hospitality capital of the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I just kind of, went through the ranks a little bit. And then once I finished the program to become a Som, I went right to work. Yeah, as a Som.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that experience being a Som?
It was amazing. It was fun. It was stressful, anxiety ridden. Well, it's also kind of, it was another kind of fork in the road for me, realizing what world I didn't want to be in anymore, because the restaurant world is brutal. There's more drug use in the restaurant world probably than any other industry. I will put that up against the music industry or anything.
Well, what do you mean by they're smoking a joint in the back room? While
people are. I mean, I was never a big drug guy. Like I was. I mean, I admit I smoke pot. Like I use pot, but like I was never a drug guy. But Coke is huge in the restaurant world. Huge.
And we're talking restaurant like 5 stars.
All stars.
Really?
All stars. Because
I didn't know that.
It's
really that prevalent, huh?
Yeah. And it's just because the restaurant world is such a stressful world and I learned this from going to school, that the service industry in general, or I guess the hospitality industry in general, is the stress level, they say, is as high as a surgeon. Wow. Because you have to fake emotion on a daily basis. And it takes such an emotional toll on your body. What you have to do, no matter what's going on in your life, to put on that smile, because the customer's always right. You work in this world. You always have to be that happy, thing. So what that does to you emotionally and physically, even because the toll it takes on you. So you can understand why so many people have drug problems and alcohol problems in the restaurant world.
That's insane. It's very adjacent to celebrities because it's the same thing. Their life is in shambles and they got cameras on, smile.
Exactly.
And, you're kind of just feeding the monster that you're not really curing inside.
Yeah.
Because you want to lash out, you want to be honest, and you can't. So let me go do a line, and then put a smile on my face. Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
It's crazy, but man. So working in that world, especially in Vegas, you're getting off 1, 2 in the morning, then you're going out because all the bars are open 24 hours,
and you're on edge, right?
Yeah,
you can't
on
just
edge.
Go to sleep.
No, I'm going to bed at daylight every day.
Wow.
Because you're out drinking, you're gambling, you're doing all this stuff, and it's excuse me, sorry.
No, you're good, dude.
It takes a toll on you, and the truth is, it was kind of killing my feeling of human beings, because watching how people behave in restaurants is just insane to me.
Yeah.
The way people act because of food.
Oh,
the way I see people act, and I'm like, this can't be the way human beings are. And I realize I don't want to be in this world. So it was kind of like the music thing in a sense where this is a passion of mine. I love doing it. I love being a part of it. But working in it was just killing my soul a little bit.
Yeah. You were losing who you were.
Yeah, and that's why I needed to pivot into something else and I thought accounting would be very mindless. I thought it would be kind of just checking out, doing a 9-to-5 grind, and that wound up killing my soul more than anything.
Wow, why? More than the restaurant business?
Anything, because it was not who I was. It was counterintuitive to how my brain works. Everything was wrong about it for me. And I worked for some really toxic companies, really toxic places.
Gotcha, man.
And I had reached a level of dread and misery and anxiety that I had never felt. And that's when this all started starting to creep in, and why I started to appreciate things differently, because realizing you're not where you're supposed to be really shifts your focus in a different way. Because once you realize this is not where I'm supposed to be in life, I need to be doing something that makes me really, truly happy, that feels natural to who I am. That's the big thing, is where you feel naturally.
Correct.
And so I started making cooking videos on Instagram, and it was doing okay. It was doing all right, but how I felt doing it was just so good. It was my departure. It's where I just felt like nothing else existed. And I always watched a lot of people who do what I do. I watch people who do reviews in cars, and I loved watching them. I thought it was awesome. And I decided to start trying them. I did a couple that never made it on there because they were so horrifically bad, just so terrible. And one day the light bulb went off. I literally woke up. I'm like, this is how I see now how I have to approach this. I get it. And I did a couple. I did 4 or 5. One of them took off. And then I realized this is where I feel natural. And so this appreciation, how I walk through life, really is very recent.
Wow, man.
Really, as a whole.
Yeah, because I noticed, doing my research, and it's interestingly enough, again, we're kindred spirits here. It's coming up January 26, 2023, Main Street Donuts, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I actually interviewed Joe, the owner.
Yeah.
He was one of my podcast guests in the past. He's a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
But I heard of you doing that review, and that was like the first one that really you kind of like, because you would put the camera on and be like, this doesn't sound right, or this doesn't feel authentic. This tastes like food, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But then you got into that rhythm.
That was the first one where I started to find, like, where I realized
you started feeling it and
I
getting
understood
appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think it's easy and, you know, to just be an influencer or be a food blogger.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, we make it look easy. We're talking on microphones now. We're organic.
Yeah.
But not everyone can do this. Yeah. Just like you couldn't be an accountant. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think it feeds your creative side. This is what I mean by that. So, you know, going back to therapy. So Sigmund and Freud, the Freudian, you know, basically model speaks to having to feed your creative side, which is your child. Yeah. So that's the id in you. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't feed that creative side of you, it's almost like counterproductive to your life as evolving as an adult. Yeah. Because you gotta do something creative to feed that need for a spark of what I'm meant to do.
1000%.
And I think you were not feeding that, doing the hospitality, doing the accounting. Yeah. And you, just like me with this podcast, you wake up and you're like, no, this is what I got to do, and this is how I got to do it. So now, and I say this all the time, it's not about how much money you make. If you're great at something, it'll come.
I don't make a lot of money at this. It's not. Listen, I'm not a rich guy from this.
No, but you're building it, and that's the beauty of it. Is that there's more pride in building something than to just doing something that doesn't feed your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I never felt more zen in my life, and that's the thing. It's like I'm not concerned about the money. I'm not concerned about any of it, and that's why when I was able to make that shift, like when I was doing this, it just felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was the first time in my life too that I didn't force anything. I got the mentality to just let go. Let go, see where the journey goes. I'm not trying to sound all obnoxious and like hoity-toity. But it's like I finally, because that's the whole time I was always so tight. Yeah. I was always so focused on what I have to do, what I felt I needed to do. It was the first time where I just let go, and now I can appreciate everything around me. I've never felt more zen like in my life, and I'm just so much happier.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, you're living your purpose. Yeah. And I say it in the beginning of every podcast. Every light and dark moment creates a beautiful piece of art. Yeah. So you gotta have the dark to appreciate the light. You have to. And I really am resonating with you because I used to be very tight. Yeah. Super tight. Yeah. Wound up. Like I'm so over analytical.
Yeah. Me too.
Listen, Julian gave me some clips the other day. I was drawing myself crazy as I leaned back and I looked fuzzy. And no one cares. No one cares. No. But it's just me. I care so much about the art and about what I do that sometimes we get lost in that. Yeah. But sometimes there's freedom in letting go.
That's the greatest thing if I ever had to give anyone ever advice, is just let go. Once you let go, everything else kind of falls into place. Whatever it is your journey is supposed to be, when you let go, that's when it happens.
Man. Yeah. It's inspiring to hear your story, Josh, because you inspire me. And this is why I have people on the platform, is because number one, you're doing something amazing, but number two, I like to meet people that inspire me. And hearing your story, you know, how you started and you kind of had the aha moment, like what, 2-3 years ago? When the food reviews really started?
No, I've only been doing the food reviews for maybe a year and a half.
A year and a half? Yeah. Really, and when did it take off? What was the first one that kind of like sparked?
It was the BBQ chicken.
BBQ chicken in Neptune. Okay.
That one, it was literally, I woke up one day and it didn't stop. Like it was like I think maybe like 3 or 4 weeks after I posted it, I had like 1,500 followers. Wow. And then within a month, I was up to like 5,000 followers from that one video.
And it organically just started growing.
It just happened.
How many times did you do reviews until that one?
That was like my 5th or 6th review.
Wow. Yeah. So look at that. After letting go, it just took 6 tries.
Just let go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
That's crazy.
And that has Well, I think too, you're a likable person. And it's something that, and this is another thing too. And I now food bloggers are like celebrities. It's disgusting. But anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you support homegrown businesses.
Yeah.
And you actually give them light. You're not going to like the 5-star restaurant.
Right.
You're not going to like the Instagram trap
Yeah.
where the food is crap, but you know,
Right.
everyone's there. How was that planned, or did that happen by mistake?
I've always been the kind of person, and maybe it's obnoxious, I don't know. Whatever everyone else is into, I'm not doing that.
You go left. I like
it's like I'll still go to popular places here in Jersey. Like I still want to find out, but like I don't necessarily like jumping on the fads, because one thing I've always loved doing, this is before any of this, I like going out and exploring restaurants, and I like finding holes in the wall. I love hole in the wall places more than any other types of places.
It's best food.
It's best food.
Best food.
Hole in the wall places are the best. So like to me, I'm trying to find the, you know, just all the, not, it doesn't have to be scale big or small restaurant, but just the random places, or it's just something that just seems interesting to me. It's a place that looks good to me. Like maybe one day I'm in the mood for German food. I'm going to Google what German restaurants are in my area. I'm going to go to this German place and just try it out. So it's really, I only go to places that I just think sound good. That's really all it is. Yeah.
You go off a feeling,
Yeah.
and it's what I like about it is that it's not produced.
Yeah.
It's not orchestrated.
Yeah.
Like, Julian, we're going to go here and do this.
Right.
And when I count to 5, you're going to do
Right.
No, this is just real in the field.
Yeah.
Like, I can see your genuine reaction when you're eating this food.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing it for, you know, small business owners that need any push they can.
Yeah.
You know? Now, there's a double-edged sword, right? Because you can give a great review, you can give a bad
Yes.
review. How does that work when those bad I don't want to say bad, but like it wasn't up your alley.
Yeah.
Right? How does that work for you?
Well, anytime I'm critical, and that's the kind of term I prefer to use, if I'm ever critical in a review, I am trying to say it in a constructive way. Because the truth is, I could probably get a lot more views by just being straight nasty. Like because there are some reviewers I watch and they are ruthless.
Yeah,
and those ruthless videos get more views than the good reviews. I mean, more like likes and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I can't bring myself to do that, because these are business owners, these are livelihoods, these are people's, you know, they're trying to make a living.
Of course.
So it's tough. So I try to deliver it in a positive way, like, you know, I'm not feeling this, and this, but there's this part to it. So that way there's at least, I'm pointing out both the positives and the negatives of something. I've rarely had things, and this is just kind of maybe by luck, where everything was just shit.
Got it.
There's always some kind of redeeming quality of something that I'm eating. So I would rather at least point out some redemption along with the critical. And like, you know, I've had instances with some businesses where it's like they weren't happy with my review, and they weren't necessarily bad reviews. Yeah. They weren't just necessarily glowing. I had to point out some flaws in the food, and they were hoping for, you know, this rating versus this rating. And it's just, it's part of the thing. If you're going to, you know, if you want me to come review your food, I'm straightforward with I'm not wavering on what I'm bringing to the table. I'm not going to fluff anything.
Correct.
You know, but it's like, I've had a couple of reviews where I was a bit ruthless. I've had a couple where it was just not good.
Not good. Yeah.
Not good. And you could, and the thing is, and the reason why I had to be honest is because you could see it. I watch it on my face. I'm like, this is really, and sometimes unhealthy, like something's wrong with this food.
Gotcha,
you know, like,
gotcha. And listen, it might not be your wheelhouse, and that's okay.
And
someone else can try that and be, oh my God, it's the best thing I ever had.
Yep.
Food is so objective.
Yeah.
Because it's not like an end all be all.
No.
And that's what people have to understand, especially business owners that are putting themselves in this vulnerable position. Hey, we're thankful to have Josh here, but that doesn't guarantee us a 10.0, an 8.0. No. But hey, we're getting a little light.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a room for improvement if there is something that he's being honest about that, you know what, we probably heard from 5 other people.
Yeah, and I try to point that out, that some things sometimes are not my style. I want to show off every ingredient of the food, because to someone else, it'd be like, I actually like that.
Correct.
I like it when it's prepared like that. I like it when it's that stuff. So like, I try to make that distinction when I can.
Yeah, and I think you've been doing a great job at it, because we spoke off camera about the pupusa review you did in Neptune City. I think it's called Restaurant Pupuseria Salvadoreño.
Yeah.
Shout them out, and thank you, Josh, for putting me on. I told you the story. Me and my wife were just hungry as heck on a Saturday night. And we, you know, she's half Guatemalan and Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. We love pupusas. We're from Elizabeth. That is like pupusa land.
Yeah.
So we, you know, live close to there. And we're like, man, there's nothing good out here. When I saw your review, I went.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be very upfront and honest. I was like, let's see if he really knows what he's talking about, right? When I ate that, I was like, oh yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows because this tasted just like what we are used to
awesome.
eating.
I'm glad to hear that.
So you put us on to a beautiful place close to home.
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I really started following you, because I started, you know, taking your, before it's like you're kind of hesitant because everybody's kind of in the space doing it in their own way.
Yeah.
But you have an authentic, you know, kind of taste to what you're doing, because it reads through with your personality. And I can co-sign that what you were saying in that video is exactly what I felt.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Al's. I went to Al's in Garwood.
Yeah.
Same thing, delicious. I'm like, yo, this guy's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
So again, kudos to you for
Thanks.
you know, delivering good content.
Yeah.
And again, it's not produced. It is just real in the field.
Yeah.
And it's just you in the car giving your honest opinion.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that needs to be, you know, recognized.
I appreciate
because
that. Thank you.
other people can do it.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's you know 10 million ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
But I think your formula is working for you, and I think it's going to resonate with real people that love real food.
Thank you so much.
You
I
know?
appreciate
Absolutely,
that.
dude.
Thanks.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So food and stuffs, man. Josh,
Yeah.
what's next? What's the next year look like for you in the space?
So one thing I'm working on, so one of my friends, Kevin Interdonato, he's an actor.
Okay.
We've been working on this series called Two Guys from Jersey.
The barbecue thing. Yeah. I saw
So
that,
we did Ruts Hut. That's up on YouTube.
Ruts Hut.
That the barbecue one, mostly smoked, which I just love, is up on YouTube. So
Nice.
This is a longer format series. These are like half-an-hour videos.
Okay.
Where it's not necessarily like a food rating video, but we just kind of shoot the shit, talk about the food we're eating, talk about food, movies. It's just like two people hanging out and having a conversation and enjoying food.
That's cool,
and talking
man.
about the food. So that's the thing I'm working on now. It's kind of like I guess you would call it the passion project.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a few more coming out soon. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do more of those. Like I'm hoping that starts to take off, because I put the teasers on Instagram, but you know, this is more of a YouTube driven
long
thing.
form. I think now a lot of people are getting more into the long form
Which is
space as
great.
well. Yeah, I mean, I love listen, I do an hour podcast, right?
Yeah.
And
It's also our
not-
age.
Yeah, it's our age too, right?
It's our age group.
like to
Yeah.
I like to do stuff and listen to stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like to see a 20-second clip and be over with. I
Yeah.
like to kind of read,
Absorb.
get the whole 360
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I think that's beautiful what you're doing, because it's a different vertical for you that can evolve the brand.
Yes.
You know, versus you being, there's people that get stuck in monotony. I'm going to do the same thing as it works. No, you got to kind of, you know, evolve and, you know, try different things. 3 years ago, this podcast didn't look like this.
Yeah.
So it's constant evolving. And
always evolving.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
So
That
that's
you're
one of the
doing
big
that,
things.
man.
I'm just going to keep doing the food reviews and hoping they just, you know, I hope that my, you know, just keep growing. That's, I guess the goal is just to keep growing that as much as I can and keep trying good food.
I was gonna ask you something, but then my mind goes 1,000 miles an hour. Did you try the Ruts Hut honey mustard relish?
No. Wait. You mean their standard relish?
I call it honey mustard relish.
Oh,
It
I mean
tastes
their
like-
regular. Their relish
Dude.
I had. Their relish is like
The relish?
that's liquid gold. He called it. The guy called it. I think it's
liquid gold. That's it. I feel like it tastes like honey mustard. That's why I said honey mustard relish.
No, just their relish. Oh, I absolutely had it. It's delicious. We sat there. If you watch the video, me and Kevin, we're trying to
gotta
figure
watch
out
the whole video, man,
Yeah,
'cause
like we're trying, like, what's in this? Because they wouldn't tell us.
They don't tell you. No,
Yeah,
no,
one of the guys who runs it, he sat with us for part of the thing, and like we were asking. He's like, he goes, just enjoy it. He's like, don't worry about
No,
it.
it is crack.
Because it's like, it's really good.
It's really.
Yeah.
I would go to Ruts Hut sometimes twice a week. I used to work in Saddlebrook way back in the day, and that's Clifton, so it's like quick.
Right.
I would have the 2 Ruts Hut dogs. I would have the onion rings with the honey mustard. I keep saying honey mustard relish with the relish. I mean, this is back when I was really.
And
good.
I'm an onion ring guy too.
Me too. I'm a big onion ring guy.
Yeah, their onion rings were all, everything we had. The dipped cheeseburger was good. Like, we had duck. The duck.
Come on.
I'm a big fan of duck.
Come on.
Their duck is killer.
Amazing.
It is so good.
Really?
They have a
I didn't
crazy.
even know they had duck.
Well, it's funny, and he made the distinction. They're not a hot dog joint, even though that's their namesake, like what they're known for.
Yeah.
They have a full menu, a full restaurant. Like they have a whole regular size menu with like all different crazy stuff.
They do. I did.
And
I
they
do
have
remember
legit
that.
food.
They have legit food. Yeah. I didn't have friends of mine had. I always kept to the basics. The fried hot dogs, the French fries, the onion rings. But yeah, to your point.
Yeah. But the dogs are the best. I mean, that and Hiram's. Those to me are the two. I grew up on Hiram's. I never had Hiram's. It's in Fort Lee.
Oh, no, never had Hiram's. No.
That to me, those are like the two.
Really?
The two top dogs.
I got to try. Nice pun.
Dad joke today.
That's a good one, dude. I got to try Hiram's. Never tried it,
Hiram's. I grew up literally across the street from them.
Come on.
Yeah, in Fort Lee.
Wow.
Yeah, that's as a kid, we would play street hockey, go have hot dogs.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. You can't beat a good hot dog, right?
I've said this before. You give me the best cheeseburger on earth, the best hot dog on earth, I'm taking the best hot dog.
I hear you.
I love hot dogs.
I'm a cheeseburger guy.
Yeah.
But I love cheeseburgers. But I love a good hot dog.
Yeah.
I love a good hot dog, and Rutt's Hut is right there.
They're one of the best.
They're amazing.
Jersey is so slept on with hot dogs.
Yeah.
The Ripper dog, the fried style to me is the best. I think it's the best style.
Oh no, even when you bite it kind of burns you a little.
Yeah. It's so
like,
good.
Pain is good.
Yeah, and if you want to know the real fat kid move, the thing that I love to do is I stuff French fries on the sides of the bun in the
Come on.
in the hot dog.
Oh, I gotta try that. I've never done that.
That's the move.
That's very the fat Josh sandwich.
Yeah,
which I was very
fries
intrigued.
And anything. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
dude. That's like it reminds me of the Italian cheesesteaks I used to have 3 a.m. coming out of a nightclub when you're 20 years
well,
old.
in Rutgers, it was
grease
trucks.
The grease trucks.
Grease trucks.
Yes. Yeah. Very similar to that.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God, I haven't had those. I can't even tell you last time I had one of those, but I miss it.
Yeah, those are so good.
Those things were good.
Yeah.
Man. Wow, Josh, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so. First of all, I want to say thank you for being on the platform.
Thank you. I had a blast. It was great.
No, this is awesome, dude. But also getting to know the other side of you that you can't really see through a video on Instagram or even the long form. Like, I feel like we truly can be ourselves. I know there's cameras on here, whatever the case is, but I do feel this genuine connection with you as far as like relativeness, things that we've gone through in our lives.
No, definitely a lot of
where we are
a lot
today.
of parallels.
Yeah, a lot of parallels, man. So, I guess for me, it kind of feels like I'm on this journey with you. So I really am excited to see what's coming up next for you, man.
For you too. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Hopefully in a couple of years, I'll have you back on, or maybe next year, and then boom, what's going on?
Yeah, seriously.
So it's all about growth, man.
It is, totally. You just got to keep going.
Absolutely. Just keep, and that's why I wanted to ask you, like, somebody out there that's trying to get into the content space, what's some, key things to point out to them before they get into the space that you have learned on your own? Don't
be afraid to fail at it. Don't be afraid to put up bad content. You have to see what's wrong before you see what's right with doing it. You go back and look at some of my early videos, some of them ain't great. It's like, so you really have to be not afraid to try everything and see what feels natural to you. Like, it's good to watch other content creators to kind of understand the format.
Yeah.
To kind of understand how it gets done, like how the sausage is made, but you have to, no matter what you do, if it doesn't feel natural to you when you're doing it wrong.
Correct.
That's the thing. Don't be afraid to fail at it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever you do, it's got to feel like it's coming from you. That's the biggest thing.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I think to tie into that too is be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
You have to.
Because that's something that you can't really duplicate.
No, you can't.
It's so hard to be somebody you're not. It's
Yeah.
so easy to just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we're having this conversation. You and me were upstairs before we got on, and we were talking the same way off camera that we are on camera.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just be who you are.
Just be who you are.
Don't act like somebody you're not.
Don't force it. Again, it's don't force anything.
It.
Don't force. Just let go. Just be you, and that's all you can do.
Love that, brother. Love that, man. Got a couple mastermind questions for you. I always ask this at the end of the show.
Okay.
A couple thought-provoking questions. Nothing crazy. I'm not going to ask you for your social or anything.
Okay. Let me take a drink of water. Then
take a swig. I'm going to take a swig as well. So, a couple questions I ask the guests at the end of the podcast just to get a little bit more of a feel of, how your brain works and how it ticks. What book have you read that inspired you the most?
It's going to sound really wild. This is going to sound so obnoxious on a level that I can't explain. It's called Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky.
I never heard of it. Please tell me.
That book kind of changed my life. It's existentialism philosophy.
Okay.
I never knew about it. It was when I was in college. I just took philosophy. Like I had to take like whatever kind of
Like an
elective or whatever.
Yeah, got it.
And I remember the professor saying we were in the class. We only read like an excerpt from it.
Mm-hmm.
He literally had to give us a warning. He's like, "Don't take this to heart too much, because this can send you on a wild ride. Because it's existentialism. It's about why are we here?
Why are we here? Yeah, it's almost like playing with the whole faith and religion. Yeah,
it is. So it's like the whole book, in essence, and it's this real small synopsis. Basically, this man who lives his life, seeing how his life affects whether he does things or doesn't do things in society, doing really bad things, really good things, and how his life maybe has no effect on anything. It's basically like, so why are we here if the point of, if what I'm doing is not affecting anything, you know, it sends you on this journey. Then what are we here for? What's the whole purpose? What's the whole point are we here for? That book really messed me up, but in a kind of good way.
right.
Because it's like, you're only here for a second. You can't concentrate again on why, you know, you can't concentrate on things that don't matter. You can only control what you do in this world. Enjoy it while you're here. Be you. Like, you know, I still didn't have those full revelations till later in life, but that was a book that kind of started to like open up my mind in that way. So that book really kind of changed the way I looked at life in general.
Wow, no, everything you just mentioned about it is kind of how you're living your life now.
Yeah.
So that really did have an
It's
effect.
all
That's
about
awesome.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of it one more time?
Notes from the Underground.
Notes from the Underground. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up. That's
Yeah.
a good one, man.
Yeah.
What keeps you driven in life?
Oh man, that's a good.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's like the hardest question to answer. What keeps me driven in life? It's just feeling happy, I guess. I don't know if that's the right answer.
The pursuit of
I feel like I'll
happiness?
know this answer better when I leave here when I'm driving home.
This is why they're mastermind questions. People have called me. Can we shoot again?
What I think the only thing that drives me is really just to feel good. Just to feel
like
good.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
Life is crazy and hectic as it is. The best thing to do is to just feel good about yourself
But
and
also,
what you're doing.
Actually, also, it's to make others feel good. I'm a huge empath. I feel other people's
Same.
stuff. It's just the way I am. I feel good when other people feel good. That's a big way. My friends, family, strangers, like seeing a homeless person will mess up my day. It's like I'm at that level.
Yeah,
like,
no, I understand.
so it's
yeah.
like, for me, it's like when other people are happy, I'm happy, and that kind of that's part of what drives me too.
No, dude, that means. I mean, I think it comes with age, right?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
I used
Totally
to be
comes
so
with age.
tough when I was
Yeah.
young.
Oh yeah.
I can watch like a credit card commercial where family's hugging the
Yeah,
son, and I'll
I can
start
tear up
crying.
the same way. The stupidest things.
Crying. Like there's a homeless dog shelter. And
Me and my girlfriend watched yesterday. It's called, was it The Unbearable Weight of Being Something?
oh, I love that movie,
thing?
Nicolas Cage.
I teared up a little at the end.
Yeah,
I teared up a little at the end.
over the weirdest thing.
The weirdest things.
Something that you don't
It
even
choked me up.
Yeah, it chokes you up.
It choked me up.
And I used to, oh God, I remember watching Titanic in the movie theater, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. And now
Yeah.
it's like I'm just like
Yeah.
waterfall.
Yeah.
Waterfall. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but that comes with age and also maturity and just being having empathy for people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you said, it goes a long way. Like I said, being more empathetic to people's situations.
We need
and
more of that in this world.
You need more of that because you know it's like everyone's becoming narcissistic. And in this world, you're rated off how cool you are, how many followers you have,
Yeah.
how many, you know. So it's like, forget all that. Who are you as a person?
Yeah.
Let's start
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then we can build. Because, you know,
Yeah.
this one saying they always say, never meet your superheroes, you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of my superheroes and I was not happy.
Yeah.
But it's because we put these people on a pedestal.
We do.
And we're human.
Yeah.
We all have our flaws or
Yeah.
whatever the case is. But if you can just internally be happy,
Yeah.
I think that will be a beam of light for everyone you run into.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Two more for you. Have
Okay.
you ever had any vices? And if you did, how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, food was definitely a vice. I mean,
Same with me.
you know, it's still it's a vice that you can't walk away from because you have to eat. Yeah. So it's a vice you have to continually. So for me, it's a vice I continually control. And this, and I haven't talked about for a little bit. I had a little bit of a gambling issue,
Okay.
like when I lived in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who move to Vegas kind of
Become
go
gamblers.
through that.
Yeah.
because it's so
It's like a rite of passage.
everywhere. It's just, I mean, it's just like the thing everyone does. So they have these things that they're called gaming bars. So every bar in Vegas, like in the suburbs, these are all 24-hour bars that serve food 24 hours, and the gambling is on the bar. Like you play the video things.
While you're eating or whatever the case is.
And you drink for free when you gamble. So,
wow, that's the same thing with the casinos. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, and this is littered, like every single bar is that when you live locally in Vegas.
Geez, so you can't escape it.
You can't escape it. It's there. So, yeah, I definitely luckily never to the point where I was like destitute or like, I couldn't pay my rent.
Got it.
But definitely where I was struggling a little financially for a few minutes because like I just, made all this money working and now it's gone.
Gone, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually, I did struggle once to pay the rent because I did one bad thing and I had to borrow money from my family to pay. But yeah, that was my vice. And I left Vegas for about a year and a half, not specifically just because of that, just a lot of life stuff going on. And I got away from it. But what was also kind of funny, I struggled with ADHD.
Okay. Gotcha.
I was on Adderall.
Okay.
It was weird as the second I stopped taking the Adderall, the gambling urge stopped.
Really?
Because it was the compulsiveness of pushing the button, playing the game, this whole kind of thing.
But
and I stopped smoking at the same time.
Stop.
Yeah.
But isn't the Adderall supposed to calm the
Eventually,
impulsiveness?
Eventually, it kind of has a counterproductive effect on you.
Gotcha.
Because it zeroes you in on things. So
Got
like
it.
you're playing this video game, I just want to keep putting money in so I can keep pushing the button and things are happening and I'm just doing this thing. So it's like you're locked into that. You want that compulsion. You want that repetitive thing because you're locked into it.
Yeah, you're locked in.
So yeah, I struggled with that briefly, not a very long time, but that was when I struggled with a little bit.
Wow. Well, you're very centered from what I see, man. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe because of the meditation now.
Meditation is huge. Life-changing.
You are
Life-changing.
very like. I mean, I've interviewed people. They start looking at the ceiling after 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you're on point.
Changed my life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Meditation, honestly, that was a massive catalyst. Just changed the way my whole body feels.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. I gotta get into that too. I try to do it in the sauna in the morning, and then
Yeah.
after like 2 minutes, like there's like a monkey hitting a cymbal.
Yeah, well, that's the
in
thing
my
about when if you have ADD or ADHD. The way I taught myself to get into meditation, like my therapist suggested it. He gave me some mantras and things like that. But I downloaded this app called Headspace.
Headspace. I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
Awesome.
And they have a 10-day teach you how to meditate thing. It's like in 10 days teach me. It took me a month because it's like the ADD brain. It's like I'm just like, oh,
Can't do it.
squirrel. Like it's like, but it teaches you if you stick with it.
How to
that
get
really
into that headspace.
that taught me how to do it. It was very pivotal in teaching me meditation.
I'm gonna look into that, man.
Yeah.
Headspace.
Yeah.
Nice.
It teaches you how to organize the thoughts because like you have that idea when they tell you to meditate, clear your mind. That's
Yeah.
literally impossible. You cannot clear your mind.
It is
You
tough.
can just kind of parse out your thoughts and kind of like organize them
Gotcha,
so that
but
they're
it's-
not interfering.
But it's hard to. But it's a practice and a discipline.
Yes.
To
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it to the point where it's like, okay, no squirrel, focus.
Totally. Yes.
And that's where I'm at, and I'm
Yeah.
learning, and my wife helps me with that. But definitely something I
Try the app. It's really good.
Headspace.
Yeah.
Last thing, brother, I'll let you go with this. What's the last thing you have purchased that has changed your life?
Oh, I don't know.
You've got King Koopa and Super Mario.
What did I purchase that changed my life? I don't, it's funny. I'm not a big purchaser. I'm not for me, it's always cooking gadgets. It's always cooking things.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's a hard one to answer. I'll think of one obviously when
you're
I
driving home.
honestly, it didn't change my life, but it changed the way I cooked. Is a saucier pan.
What's a saucier pan?
It's kind of like a rounded. It's like a saucepan meets a pot.
Okay.
It's just kind of like a pot that
like a wok?
kind of. They're like this big. They're not very big.
They're not that. Okay.
It's like a rounded because you can do so many things with it.
Wow.
But I don't know that there's any purchases that really changed my life. That's the thing. Like, I don't think that, and this is going to sound obnoxious, like that things have changed my life. It's just what I've done has changed my life. Yeah.
Well, I think it's also I think it's the constant practice of evolving that has changed your life. Like you're like, you know, and we went on this journey for the last hour, brother.
Yeah.
And the one thing I said in the beginning that
Yeah.
it still sticks to me, you're a testament that you have to keep going until you
Yeah.
find what is truly meant for
Yeah.
you. And you have spoken through that the entire hour here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you tried, you know, being a sommelier, being a teacher. You tried being an accountant. All these things when
Yeah.
you were not feeding your actual true gift,
Right.
which I feel is in the cooking space. It's in the food blog space. So now that you're actually doing that, sky's the limit,
Yeah.
and life feels better.
It does.
Right?
Just feels better.
Am I crazy? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Doesn't it feel good
Yeah.
to wake
Oh.
up and just kind of focus on what you love?
Yeah. And it's like, I get to do this. It's crazy. It's a crazy feeling every day that that's my job, that I get to do this.
Dude, you're
Yeah.
living the dream, brother.
Yeah.
Living the dream,
Yeah.
man. Josh, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure, and definitely going to do it again soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell everyone out there before we get out of here how they can find you, what you're up to, what you're going to be up to. The floor is yours.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram at Josh's Food and Stuff. JOSHSFOOD, the letter N stuff. And on YouTube, you can check out now. I have both my short reviews that I normally do, my regular ones, but I also have the long form ones called Two Guys from Jersey. I actually do have a website with some recipes.
Wanna shout that out here?
Yeah, it's joshsfoodandstuff.com.
Okay.
So it's all pretty easy. to
Everything's
remember.
on the IG link. I know that.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, you can go to my IG link. It's on my link tree on there. Everything is there. That's pretty much where you can find me and what I'm up to right now.
Awesome, man. Listen,
Yeah.
brother, again, much luck to you in the future. We're definitely going to see each other again.
For
Like I
sure,
said,
yeah.
you got a friend here. Anything you ever need, call me, anything.
And likewise,
And, you know, we'd love to connect with
Yeah.
you more, but definitely love what you're doing. And just a disclaimer to the listeners, don't look at his IG unless you're if you're really hungry, beware.
Yeah.
Because you'll run to the first spot close to your house that he's reviewed. Josh, thanks again.
Thank you
brother.
so much, man.
Absolutely. That is a wrap on episode 32 of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. If this podcast inspired you to move and follow your dreams or aspirations, please subscribe to our Apple and Spotify, YouTube platforms by typing in Luis Guzman, I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, and clicking that subscribe button. Please make sure to follow my Instagram handle at I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, one word, for all future content and updates. I am thankful for every listener. I pray you have a blessed one, not a stressed one. Peace.
Thanks, man.
I need you by my side. Without you, I would die. If there's no